Get you some money, you're gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. You know, get you a couple dollars, man. You're gonna feel different.
Nice little net hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. You know, I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.
When it comes to the financial struggles and boxers, we know about Mike Tyson. Now we currently know about Mayweather, of course, and others, Adrian Broner. The list goes on, but those are the most high-profile situations of that nature that we can probably point at of our contemporary generations. But I never really heard the fact that Evander Holyfield supposed to have off $300 million, but this is what the video states, that this one mistake cost him $300 million. So I was interested. Figure you might be too. So we gonna check it out.
It's like a house that you would say, if I'm the baddest motherfucker on earth, I want the baddest fucking house on earth. So large, they named the highway on which it sits Evander Holyfield Highway.
And I remember when I was in Huntsville, Alabama, in the juvenile hall, it was a staff in there, big, built. He was a defensive end, college player at Huntsville. A&M Huntsville, and Alabama A&M, and Huntsville, and as a graduate program, the program that most of the staff members was majoring in was something that caused them to be volunteering at the juvenile hall as staff guards to get credit toward they graduate from college. So it was all like 4 or 5 year college students. They were, the elders of the, young college students. And one of them looked like a twin to this nigga. His last name was Holyfield. He was his brother. And at that time, we used to get a lot of current updates and, just personal little history pointers from his brother. It was his real brother. We even saw the blueprints of Holyfield House. That's what made me stop it before it got built, because his brother showed us.
Did this guy manage to blow through hundreds of millions that he made?
You know what the nuttiest spending of money was? Evander Holyfield making the biggest fucking house. Craziest house I've ever seen in my life.
Is he a gypsy?
He's Evander Holyfield, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Look at that. It has 109 rooms.
Evander fucking Holyfield lives in an apartment in Philadelphia and is barely getting by. The dude was getting multiple millions of dollars per fight because he was surrounded by people that would just...
The youngest of 9 children from a single mother. His father left shortly after his birth. Evander starts boxing at the age of just 8 years old.
He said, "Do you know you could be like Muhammad Ali?" Wow. I said, "I'm only 8 years old." He said, "You won't always be 8. And when he said that, I knew next week I was gonna be 9. So I believed him. So he asked me, what did I think? I told him I had to ask my mama. And he said, what? I said, I got to ask my mama. So he told me, he said, go ask that good mama that you got and see what she say.
Holyfield pursued boxing at a local club, and his mum pushed him no matter how he lost, and he rose through the ranks really quickly. But we're going to talk about his financial situation. For the Mike Tyson fight, he was reportedly paid $35 million alone. That was a record at the time.
My life became great by the time I turned 17, 18. I was able to work myself. Once you start making your own money,
Not on wood, bro, but man, I couldn't. I'm not that extravagant, bro. We good. If I get it, like, we good forever.
You ain't got to worry about nobody to give you nothing. That was freedom to come. I pay my own bills and all this and stuff. So my mama told me, I said, how much money did you used to make? I used to make $8,000 a year. She said, okay, and you thought you were doing good. I said, Mama, I was doing good. And my mama said, now $8,000 is the pocket change to you, right? I said, yeah, see, remember the first time you thought you were doing well. That would let you know that if you save, that means that you're trying to help somebody else. If you don't save, you ain't trying to help nobody. He said that's the point of saving. Because when you save, you can only help somebody when you got more than enough. So if you ain't saving, you ain't planning on helping nobody else. So my mama always said, got to help somebody. Boy, you living good, got to look out for somebody else. So as long as you're looking out for somebody else, it ain't going to come back to you.
In the 1990s, Holyfield was making a name for himself in boxing. He's one of the biggest names, and he was getting massive paydays, $30 million plus for fights. He bought a 235-acre, 109-room, 54,000 square foot mansion in Atlanta around 1998, but between 10 and 20 million, it became a massive money pit, costing him a ridiculous amount of money to upkeep. The property he bought is so big, the now owner of this home, Rick Ross, all these years later, actually does the lawn himself.
Evander Holyfield, it cost him $1 million a year just to cut the grass. I was like, I don't know if it's true, but if it was, I'd just go buy some tractors.
The thing is this, he so anti-50 Cent. 50 Cent went and bought Tyson House, and he realized it was a poor investment. This dude went and bought Holyfield House, realizing it's a poor investment, but still trying to make it sound fly because you were rich boss, Rick Ross. But in order to be able to afford this home, you have to do manual labor. That's like hustling backward. You might as well still been on the cell block.
It's therapeutic.
Locking niggas up though.
You get your mind, clear.
Man, you out there, connect with the universe.
50 Cent has made fun of Rick Ross for doing his own lawn, but the Evander Holyfield bills that he was racking up and getting sued for were ridiculous when you own this much land.
What kind of rich nigga cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass?
Got a point.
Trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Let me ask you.
The AC broken in the motherfucker.
As we approach in the year 2000,
Too deep, can't sell it, and he try to keep up his image as hard as he can.
financial issues started after Holyfield lost to Lennox Lewis. His then wife filed for divorce amid public admissions of fathering children out of wedlock, and he invested heavily in a failed business, including Real Deal Records, $3 million lost there, and restaurant. He lost over $10 million. Other flops included a kitchen grill, barbecue sauce, and fire extinguishers. Obviously, with the George Foreman grill, and many people believe you can just slap a famous name on anything, he had his own Knockout 360 fire extinguisher and the Real Deal barbecue sauce, but none of them made an impact.
I've seen so many athletes who have made lots of money and then lose the money.
Holyfield has likely made hundreds of millions of dollars over his 24-year boxing career. His camp isn't commenting on his current financial situation.
In the mid-2000s, he had ongoing child support payments. He had 11 kids across multiple mothers, 3 divorces, gambling losses he was stacking up in Vegas, casinos drained his funds further, but he continued fighting partly to pay bills. Despite his lavish lifestyle, at one point, Holyfield thought he made enough money and he was going to be set, but then things come out of the woodwork, legal bills, and a bunch of mess.
Everybody else got to go to work. I said, you know what? The weekend is over. I said, you know what? I said, I get 2 months off, man. That's 2 months off. And I said, you know what? I made enough money for 10 years. I said, 10 years. I said, that's it. I said, I got 10 years before I had to look for a job.
The mother of one of Evander Holyfield's children says she is no longer against the ropes. Toy Irvin sued the boxer to get thousands of dollars in back child support. Today in downtown Atlanta, both sides reached a settlement. Irvin's attorney tells us she will get everything she's entitled to. Holyfield drove off without talking to us.
His mansion in 2008 faced foreclosure by a Washington Mutual Bank. He defaulted on a $10 million loan and owed up to $14 million at points. A mother of one sued him for unpaid child support. When you're making a lot of money and you got to pay numerous baby mothers and you got 11 kids and you're making millions, the child support bills become crazy. And this guy wasn't really pushing to fight against the baby mothers that were taking him to court because he just wanted his kids to have a good life. So he was just giving the baby mothers anything they wanted.
An agreement today in the Evander Holyfield child support case. The mother of one of his 11 children claimed that he wasn't meeting his financial responsibilities. At issue, late child support payments and money for private school and an education fund. The attorney for Toy Irvin said
it wasn't really even tripping on getting it out of him. They was fighting against each other to make sure one wasn't getting more than the other. That's deep.
He was prepared to ask for jail time for the former heavyweight boxing champ.
When we originally filed, he wasn't paying child support. And now, by the time we got here, he's paying child support. He got health insurance back in track. But now what we got today is we got private school, which is vitally important to our client. and an education trust for college and graduate school.
I do love my kids, and I do want them to get a better education than I have.
He look like he trying his best to say that, but he know he getting f***ed over. Damn.
And I do all that I can to support him.
By some published estimates, Holyfield earned $250 million in winnings during his boxing career.
Remember we talked about that massive acres and acres of land he had to maintain? Well, he was getting sued by baby mothers, and a landscaping company sued him for $550,000 in unpaid loans and debt. Holyfield was 45 and still fighting. The house was later sold at auction and acquired by Rick Ross for a bargain price of around $5 million, which he is 10x his money on now.
Business deal or investment you made that people laughed at that ended up being a big win for you?
The purchase of Evander Holyfield estate.
And that's your property in Atlanta, right?
Correct.
You know, between this
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was a win.
situation with your sister stealing from you for the house, Rick Ross ended up buying the house eventually.
Yep.
Do you know how much?
Connecticut is not as developing area as Atlanta, so that may be a big difference.
She bought it for?
I asked man, you know, I got no longer my business, you know. My whole thing is that I'm not envy or jealous and all this and stuff, you know, but the point of the matter, I don't think about things that's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
My whole thing is that when I look at it, I said, you know, don't nothing hurt me, because the fact of the matter, I'm so far ahead what I used to be.
That's so up. It took that nigga that long to say absolutely nothing. Remind me of Harlem Nights, the boxer. That's fucked up. And look who asked him the question.
In 2012, he officially declared bankruptcy, flat broke, and he auctioned off nearly everything, even boxing memorabilia, belts, ropes, including the one from the Tyson bite fight. He owed over $10 million and faced $500,000 in back child support payments, including a lawsuit from his daughter, and he sold his mansion at a loss and lived more modestly. A lesson you can take.
Not his daughter. Ooh, I know that hurt. Man, it's embarrassing. Po thing.
From Holyfield is sometimes when you get big paychecks, what you're earning, you're not even earning. When you break it down in a boxer's point of view, they think they're getting 20, 30 million, but they never are, but they're living like they got it.
And so you think about it, he gets paid $20 million on a fight. Well, he has this manager that takes 50%, Uncle Sam that takes 40%. So his $20 million is not really $20 million. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to trivialize $20 million. That's a truckload of money. That income is coming in for a very specific period of time. So make sure that whatever you're purchasing when you're buying a house, that you understand how much it's going to cost you.
Post 2012, he's fought into his 40s. He had his final pro win in 2011 and did an exhibition, which he had unfortunately lost. He said that he was stolen from during the time he was making all this money and taken advantage of by people around him. He earned some money from appearances, but lives in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Same old story.
And continued dealing with his debts. And he's reflected on learning from his mistakes and wanting better for his kids.
One of the family members borrowed money off my house.
Wait. One of your family members took a second mortgage on a house they didn't own.
Right.
Wow. How much did they take?
Without your knowledge, against your will, behind your back?
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah. And so with me, I said, oh, well, okay. And, you know, so I said, that's it. That's because it was kind of sad after my mama passed. Now everybody want to steal from me. And it's, so, you know, it was one of them things that I didn't want to call them out and all this, because they was old. Like, I'm the youngest one in my family.
If you're not familiar with how remortgaging works, basically what his sister would have done is borrow money and use the equity that he already owed in the house.
Bagging a big old black massive man that could whoop Mike Tyson, getting bullied by his siblings because he the youngest. That's a crazy concept. So he was even younger than the brother, that was working in the juvenile hall? It's a thought.
To take out that loan, and obviously that meant that he owed even more money and probably pushed it forward, him losing. Holyfield can still make money at this age because he is a legend, lucky for him, but many people think if he invested that money right, his life would be very different now, but it's all in hindsight.
If you don't have financial literacy, your ass will go broke no matter how much money you make. This is why we see professional athletes, boxers, football players, basketball players, baseball. It doesn't matter who, UFC fighters. They will get $15-20 million purses. Like Holyfield right now lives in an apartment. Evander fucking Holyfield lives in an apartment in Philadelphia and is barely getting by. The dude was getting multiple millions of dollars per fight because he was surrounded by people that would just say yes. He was surrounded by yes men, but no one took the time to teach him financial literacy.
Obviously said a lot of yes too.
Literacy, which would have included wealth creation, so that he would have some assets like rental properties, like cryptocurrency, like precious metals, like index funds, so that he can have residual income coming in, and that money would be out there working for him.
The man who has to maintain that ridiculous property now is, of course, Rick Ross. We spoke about that just recently, and he's spoken about learning mistakes that Holyfield had made and how he ended up actually getting the property from him.
What's the actual story behind this house? Because we know, obviously Evander Holyfield used to own it. It's called the Promised Land. It's crazy. Everybody always talks about it. How did it come across your desk? Like, I believe it was auction, and it was like $7 million, but you paid 5.8, so you paid well under the asking price, and that's crazy that you can get something like this for that price. So how did that even come about?
Well, the story about the actual real estate, it was owned by the homie that played in Smokey and the Bandit. That's who Holyfield actually purchased it from. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And he spent $25 million
renovating and everything.
Right, building the entire crib. And so, like I said, homes was something I was always fascinated about. So when me and my homies started coming up Atlanta, we used to ride by here all the time, stop, pull over, smoke one, and just, God damn. You know what I'm saying? After I got my deal and my situation, I bought $1 million home, maybe 2 minutes from.
Yeah, we got the story on Holyfield. Is too. I can't take it from Rick Ross, the rapper, man. 300 million. Woo. Imagine the feeling. Gotta be careful.
Get you some money, you're gonna feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. Get you a couple dollars, man. You're gonna feel different.
Next little net hustle. Big shout out to SPI, Spotter Low. I'm in the black box, had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned, all that.